When a millionaire challenged her paycheck, she revealed a shocking truth at 3 a.m. The clock struck 3, slicing through the midnight silence like a guillotine of tension. The moon hung bright, an unsuspecting witness to what was about to unfold. A chilling wind rattled the windows, whispering secrets too scandalous to be contained. In a lavish mansion where lovers laughed in one room, and shadows curled in another, the air was thick with an electrifying mystery. This wasn't just about money, it was about pride, survival, and the truth that lay hidden beneath layers of deception. Caroline, a waitress with dreams bigger than her paycheck, stood her ground against the titan of a millionaire who dared question her worth. In her hands was an envelope filled with numbers, crushing dreams, and a reality she could scarcely believe herself. Her heart raced, pounding like the drums of war, as she prepared to unveil a truth that would shatter glass ceilings and explode the facade of wealth that glimmered like the fake gold of the wannabe elite. The exquisite dining hall, adorned with ornate chandeliers and flickering candlelight, echoed the tension between them. Those luxurious surroundings felt like a trap. Eyes of the guests darted nervously between Caroline and the millionaire, their breaths held tight. Then came the first strange element, a flicker from the chandelier above, casting ghostly shadows on the walls. It was like the house was trying to warn them, a pulse of energy that could either lift or destroy. As Caroline's hand trembled, time felt stretched, each second lingering like a sweet poison. "You think you can just pay me off?" she spat out, eyes glimmering with fiery defiance. Gasps erupted among the onlookers, curiosity carving lines in their faces. The rich man laughed, a sound devoid of warmth, piercing right through the room like a cold blade. He leaned closer, and in that moment, the atmosphere thickened, as if the very walls knew the truth and were waiting for it to seep out. "Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. As Caroline met his gaze, something flickered in her mind. A memory of a photograph she had buried deep. It contained a truth so explosive it could light up the sky. The guests shifted uneasily, whispers crowding the air like scavengers seeking scraps. Just then, the lights dimmed again, plunging the room into near darkness before the chandelier erupted into a blaze of brilliant light, revealing secrets that would bring the facade crashing down. What had she hidden? What would her revelation mean for the millionaire, the guests, and, most importantly, for her? And just as the air began to crackle with pulsating energy, there came a loud crash from the kitchen. What had happened? What truths would emerge, and who would walk away unscathed when it was all said and done? The crash echoed like thunder, silencing the room and sending shivers down the spines of the guests. Every eye turned toward the kitchen door, which stood slightly ajar, the shadows within dancing like mocking specters. Caroline felt her heart skip. The suddenness of it pulled her focus back, the adrenaline of the moment tangling with her fear. "Someone go check." A voice called out, but the words hung in the air, met with a thick, suffocating silence. No one dared move, as if the mansion itself was a living entity, holding its breath in anticipation. Caroline's fingers tightened around the envelope, its edges digging into her palms, grounding her amidst the chaos of emotions swirling around her. She took a deep breath, steeling herself. Now was not the time for hesitation. "I'll see what happened," she said, her voice trembling but fierce as a warrior preparing for battle. The millionaire's smirk flickered, curiosity momentarily displacing arrogance. "Let us not turn this into a horror movie, shall we?" he declared, but the jest felt brittle, a desperate mask. Caroline stepped toward the kitchen, its threshold dimly lit, shadows looming like giants ready to pounce. She hesitated, doubt creeping into her thoughts. What if it was just a harmless crash? What if it wasn't he? The smell of something burnt wafted toward her, filling her lungs with anxiety. She wrapped her fingers tightly around the handle of the kitchen door, pushing it slowly, deliberately. The hinges groaned in protest, as if warning her against what lay beyond. As she entered, the lights flickered to life, revealing a scene that stole her breath. In the center of the kitchen, a platter had toppled over, a cascade of crispy fried herbs and charred meat spread across the floor. But it wasn't the mess that gripped her with horror, it was the figure on the ground, crumpled beside it. "Mark!" Caroline gasped, rushing forward. Mark, another server, lay sprawled out, his face pale, mouth agape. His eyes stared up, not focused, but drifting into another realm entirely. A bead of crimson glistened on his forehead, a stark contrast to the chilly tiles beneath him. "Someone called an ambulance!" Caroline shouted, turning toward the hallway, but her voice was already slipping into isolation. The room had fallen into a frenzy, guests screaming, some rushing to grab their phones, others frozen in terror. Suddenly, the millionaire appeared at her shoulder, eyes wide with genuine concern, an emotion she hadn't expected. "Is he okay?" His mask had shattered, and beneath it was fear that mirrored her own. "I don't know," she cried, kneeling beside Mark. She checked for a pulse, it was faint but there. "He is alive. Someone help." And then the house shook again, a loud thud, this time from the cellar, deeper and more foreboding. Gasps filled the air as everyone fell silent, eyes darting around. There was something beneath their luxury, something lurking, and Caroline could feel it tightening around them like a noose. "What now?" another guest whispered, terror clawing at their voice. Caroline stood, her mind racing. She needed answers. She needed to uncover the truth, not just for Mark's sake but for everyone present. "We can't let it end like this," she declared, heart racing, resolve ignited within her. "Wait, the photographs," she muttered, recollecting the one that could blow the millionaire's life apart. But then, out of the corner of her eye, a shadow loomed near the kitchen entrance, and Caroline froze, feeling the chill of foreboding. Who or what could be hiding in this house of riches? The tension crackled, thick and electric, and at that moment, all eyes were on her. What was she about to reveal? And just then, a blood-curdling scream pierced the air. What dark secrets were about to unravel? The scream reverberated through the air like a gunshot, slicing through the tension and sending a new wave of panic racing across the gathering. All heads whipped around, searching for the source. Caroline's heart pounded as she squinted toward the shadows. The vision of Mark sprawled on the floor flickered in her periphery, a reminder that time was slipping through her fingers. Everyone's eyes were now fixated on the kitchen entrance, where the shadow stood still and menacing. Caroline took a cautious step back, her instincts screaming at her to run, yet her feet felt glued to the floor. The uncertainty gnawed at her. It's just a prank, right?" a hesitant voice called, breaking the ominous silence. Laughter punctured the gloom, but it was a hollow sound filled with uncertainty. No one believed it. The shadow shifted, revealing a pair of eyes glinting in the dim light. Caroline's breath caught. And then it took a step forward. It was a man, his face pale and drawn, a dark stain spreading across his shirt. "Help me," he rasped, reaching out. The desperation in his voice twisted her gut. "Who are you?" Caroline managed to choke out, her entire body on high alert. "They'll come for me next." "You have to," he began, but before he could finish, another loud thud echoed, this time from further inside the house. Something, or someone, was in the mansion. "Get back!" shouted the millionaire, stepping forward, panic breaking through his earlier bravado. The guests surged backward, creating a clump near Caroline, fear painted across their faces. The air thickened with dread. As whispers swept through the group, Caroline strained to listen. Rumors of a rival millionaire, a bitter feud, or something worse. Each guess added fuel to the chaos swirling around her. "Mark needs help," Caroline cried out, breaking through the rising tide of noise. She held up her hands in a plea as the crowd focused on her. "We can't panic. We have to find a way out." "Find a way out?" scoffed a woman beside her, shaking her head. "What if we're trapped? What if he is the man at the entrance?" let out a strangled cry as he collapsed, legs buckling underneath him. Time slowed. Caroline rushed to his side, kneeling beside him. "Tell me what happened." His feverish gaze locked onto hers, filled with urgency. "The photos, in the cellar." You have to look, there's more at stake than you know. With that, his eyes rolled back, and he fell silent. Caroline swallowed hard. The cellar, she whispered, her mind racing. She recalled moments shared with Mark, late-night conversations he had about hidden secrets in the wealthy's lives and how those secrets, if uncovered, could change everything. "Everyone listen!" she suddenly yelled, her voice cutting through the confusion. "We need to check the cellar. If there are lives at risk, we can't do nothing." Murmurs erupted again, fear battling with apprehension. The millionaire watched her, uncertainty flickering in his eyes. "And what about the police? And what if they are already here?" Caroline barked back, a spark of defiance igniting within her. They didn't have time for that. Another thunderous crash roared from beneath them, shaking the floor. The crowd jumped, breaths mingling into a crescendo of raw fear. "We're running out of time." She turned on her heel, striding toward the door leading to the cellar, determination surging through her. Every heartbeat echoed with the urgency of their situation. "Caroline! Wait!" the millionaire called after her, a warning laced with trepidation. But she couldn't stop now. As she grasped the door handle, the atmosphere shifted abruptly. A frigid breeze swept through, sending a shiver of premonition racing down her spine. Something was down there, something that would expose the millionaire and possibly unlock the truth of Mark's condition. Pushing the door open, she peered into the darkness below, her resolve freezing at the sight of movement beneath the stairs. "Help!" a voice cried out, but it wasn't Marcus. Who else was in danger? What would careful revelations unearth in the shadows of greed? With no time to hesitate, Caroline took a step down, every instinct warning her of the darkness that lay ahead. Caroline's heart raced as she ventured deeper into the shadowy cellar, the damp, musty air wrapping around her like a cold embrace. Her instincts screamed for her to turn back, but the urgency ignited a fire within her. "Who's there?" she called out, her voice trembling yet determined. Another cry echoed, a plea full of panic that gnawed at her insides. "Help me, please." The voice was faint but desperate. She leaned further into the darkness, straining her eyes to make out any details. The stairs creaked ominously underfoot, a reminder that danger lurked just beyond her vision. "Stay back!" she shouted, hoping to alert whoever was down there, even as she searched for the source of the chaos. "Show yourself!" A figure emerged from the shadows, pale and thin, wrapped in chains that glistened in the dim light. Her breath caught in her throat. It was a woman, her face streaked with dirt and tears. Relief mixed with horror washed over Caroline. "Oh my God, you okay?" "No?" the woman gasped, trembling. "They know I'm gone. You have to help me, please." "Who did this to you?" Caroline urged, urgency creeping back. The woman paused, glancing toward the staircase. Fear flickered in her eyes. "They are coming. You have to hide me before they find me." A series of footsteps echoed from the upper floor, heavy and threatening. Caroline's stomach dropped. She had to act fast. The voices of the guests snuffed out by the chaos above felt far away, separate from the growing danger around her. "Where can I put you?" she whispered, her pulse pounding in her ears. An icy breeze shot through the cellar, an uninvited specter of doom. The woman looked around frantically. "In there." She pointed to a small alcove against the wall, hidden behind crates and old furniture. Without hesitation, Caroline grabbed her wrist and steered her toward the hiding spot. "Stay quiet," Caroline urged, her heart pounding as she carefully tucked the woman behind the crates. "Just breathe." As she straightened up, the door at the top of the stairs burst open. The millionaire's voice boomed through the darkness. "Where did she go? I know you saw her." Caroline's breath stilled. Her mind raced. Was the millionaire in on this? Was it truly about Mark, or was it something deeper, more sinister? "Caroline!" he shouted again, louder this time. "You have to tell me the truth. There's nothing you can hide from me." Panic surged through her as she glanced back at the woman, whose eyes widened in fear. "Do they know about the photos?" she whispered, her words barely audible. Photos? Caroline repeated, her throat dry. What photos? They show everything, everything that's hidden, the woman cried, urgency woven through every syllable. If they are found, it's over. A sudden crashing sound erupted from above, more urgent than the last. Caroline. The millionaire's voice snapped sharper now. Don't make this difficult. I'm here to help. Help? She huffed beneath her breath, doubt and fear clawing at her. How could she trust him? Was it paranoia, or was his urgency just as desperate as hers? Help! The woman whispered again from her hiding place, dread etched on her face. He can't find me. It's too late. The door groaned as someone knocked, heavy and controlled. Let me in, Caroline. You don't understand what's at stake. That settled it. She took a breath, adrenaline pumping through her veins. I do understand. She yelled back defiantly. I know you're hiding something. Just as the door rattled again, she grabbed the woman's hand. There's no time. Follow me. But Caroline was already running. Together, they fled deeper into the cellar, unaware that as they delved further into darkness, the true nature of the threat was much closer than they could ever imagine what awaited them in the abyss of hidden secrets and lies. Would they uncover the truth, or was it already too late? The moment they plunged deeper into the cellar, shadows closed in around them. Caroline's heart raced, each beat pounding in her ears like an alarm. Every footstep felt like it could trigger an avalanche of chaos. Her mind was a whirlwind of fear, concern for the woman beside her, and burning questions about the millionaire. Who was he really, and what was he hiding? Where are we going? The woman panted, her voice strained, clearly struggling to keep up. To the back. There might be another exit. Caroline replied, urgency lacing every word. They ducked behind a row of old barrels, the musty scent of decay drawing the breath from her lungs. Her feet skidded to a stop as she scanned the dark spaces between the crates. She could almost feel the weight of the escaping woman's desperation as they crouched in silence. The cellar was sprawling, filled with cobwebs and dust, but Caroline needed to find a way out. Over there, she whispered, spotting a sliver of light peeking through a cracked wall. She grabbed the woman's hand and pulled her closer, the distance between freedom and capture thrillingly tiny yet terrifyingly vast. Just then, thunderous footsteps boomed from above, reverberating down the staircase like a promise of doom. Caroline's breath hitched, they were running out of time. We can't stay here. The woman's face blanched. What if they find us? They will, Caroline said, her chest tightening. But we can't let them take you. Not again. As they moved toward the light, a metallic clank echoed through the cellar, making them both freeze. Caroline's heart sank. The sound was unmistakable, the sound of chains dragging against the floor. What was that? She barely breathed, her heart hammering against her ribs. They are closer than we think, the woman whispered, her eyes wide with sheer terror. Listen, Caroline urged, desperately trying to keep her voice steady. You need to trust me. We have to get to that exit. Suddenly, the cellar door burst open with a crash, and a figure silhouetted against the bright light loomed above them. It was him, the millionaire. His shadow stretched ominously across the floor, and Caroline felt a chill run down her spine. Out of the way, Caroline! He barked. This is your last chance. You have to give me the truth. Desperation clawed at her throat. You don't know what you're talking about. She shouted back fiercely, trying to stall for time, needing to think. You have no idea what you're dealing with. He fired back, his voice low and dangerous. I will not let her escape. In that moment, Caroline realized she had to choose. Would she protect the woman, risking everything, or could she expose the secrets that tied them to this basement of horrors? Caroline. The woman's voice sliced through the tension. Please, you can't trust him. The millionaire stepped closer, a predatory glint in his eyes. You think you can save her? He let out a hard laugh. You're out of your depth. With a surge of instinct, she dragged the woman toward the beam of light. "Follow me!" Caroline yelled as they sprinted, cutting through the suffocating darkness, the urgency of their flight mixing with the looming threat that hung in the air like a storm. As they reached the wall, Caroline's hand trembled against the surface, scouring it for weaknesses. "There has to be a way," she urged, desperation washing over her. "We can't let him win." "Caroline!" The millionaire called, his tone shifting to a mix of desperation and anger. "You don't realize what's at stake? The truth will destroy us all." With a final push, Caroline heaved against the wall. It gave way, the escape route crumbled into view, but she was suddenly aware of how close the danger truly was. A heavy figure was charging toward them, and time was slipping away like sand through her fingers. "Jump!" Caroline yelled as they plunged into darkness, hoping desperately it wouldn't be the last thing they ever did. What awaited them on the other side? Was freedom merely another trap waiting to snap? The fall felt endless, a tumbling void that swallowed their screams. Caroline braced herself against the woman next to her, their bodies colliding in a chaotic dance of desperation and fear. Time stretched, focusing every nerve in her body on the sensation of weightlessness, until a jarring impact sent them crashing against a hard surface. She gasped, the breath knocked from her lungs. Pain shot through her side, but she forced herself up, wincing as she squinted into the dim light of what appeared to be a narrow tunnel. The air was different here, fresher yet tinged with something metallic. "Are you okay?" Caroline asked, her voice hoarse. "I think so." The woman groaned, clutching her arm. "But we need to move. He's coming." Just as she uttered the words, echoes of that thundering presence began to seep into the tunnel. Caroline's heart raced anew. They couldn't linger here, they needed to find a way out, not just from the millionaire but from whatever darkness clung to this place. "Come on," she said, pulling the woman to her feet. "Let us go." They stumbled forward, moving deeper into the narrow confines. The walls felt slick as they grazed against them, the cold seeping into their skin. Caroline focused on the faint lights flickering in the distance, shadows curling around her like phantom hands ready to pull her back. She pushed through, each step echoing her determination. "I don't understand," the woman said, her voice a whisper. "Why didn't you just tell him what he wanted? You could have saved us both." Caroline halted, turning to face her with urgency. "You have no idea what he is capable of. If I tell him the truth it could destroy lives, yours, mine. You have to trust me." A flicker of understanding crossed the woman's face, but before she could respond, another heavy thud reverberated through the passage. Panic ignited in Caroline's chest. "We have to go, now." They hurried along, the glow at the end growing brighter, promising escape but also tinged with dread. As they neared the opening, Caroline's heart dropped. A mesh of tangled vines and rusting metal formed a barrier, a gate. "Help me," Caroline urged, her fingers grabbing at the vines, trying to pull them aside. "We can make it." I can't breathe," the woman gasped, fear tightening around her throat. Caroline shot a glance back, the shadows shifting dangerously. "Just a little more," she urged, her vision narrowing. With desperate strength born from adrenaline, she wrenched at the gate until it finally gave, creaking open just enough for them to slip through. They stumbled into a clearing, collapsing onto the cold earth. Cloudy twilight loomed above, but freedom felt tangible. Just as relief washed over her, the woman's eyes widened in horror. "Caroline, look!" From the depths of the tunnel, the millionaire emerged, his face menacing under the waning light, eyes wild with fury. "You think this is over?" he roared, drawing a glimmering object from his coat. "You have no idea what I've sacrificed to protect what's mine." Caroline's heart sank, pure dread coursing through her. The shimmering object was far from ordinary, a gun. "What do you want from us?" she yelled, scrambling to stand. "I want answers," he screamed back, the sound echoing in the silence of the clearing. "And I will have them, even if it means tearing everything apart." Suddenly, the ground trembled beneath them. Unseen forces shifted all around, the shadows thickening like a noose tightening around her and the woman. Caroline's mind raced. Choices trembled on the tip of her tongue, but something deeper stirred a realization that maybe the truth was more dangerous than she could ever comprehend. As the atmosphere crackled with tension, a surge of adrenaline fueled her with a shocking thought. What if the truth isn't what you think it is? She challenged, trying to stall for time. He hesitated, just for a moment, a glimmer of uncertainty, or was it fear? But then, out of the darkness, a chilling laugh resonated, filling the air with more questions than answers. And it struck her hard. Who else was watching? With the echoes of their surroundings morphing into chaos, Caroline knew they were not just facing the millionaire but something far more sinister. What secrets lay buried in this desolate place, waiting to be unearthed? Would the truth they sought only lead them into greater danger? The shadows around them seemed to pulse with life as the millionaire's laughter echoed, an unsettling sound that made Caroline's skin crawl. Panic clawed at her throat as she caught the woman's terrified gaze. The oppressive darkness felt sharper now, more threatening, as if it itself watched their every move. "What are you talking about?" Caroline shouted, trying to regain control over the spiraling situation. "What do you mean by answers?" The millionaire stepped closer, the gun still raised, its metallic glint catching the last bits of fading light. "You know what I'm talking about, Caroline. You have information. Secrets that could ruin everything." His voice was a mix of fury and desperation, like a wild animal cornered, ready to lash out at any moment. "Secrets?" the woman whispered, her fragile voice trembling. "What secrets?" Caroline felt the weight of the questions hang in the air like a thick fog. What secrets? She thought she had buried those hidden truths long ago. But now they threatened to resurface, ready to spill their poison. She needed to stall, to think, but the thudding of her heart drowned out any rational thought. "Just let us go," Caroline pleaded, stepping forward, trying to buy time. "You don't need to do this." But the millionaire shook his head, eyes wild and unfocused. "No? I won't let you leave until you tell me everything. You think you understand this world? You think you can come here, dig up the past, and walk away?" The intensity of his words stung, hanging heavy in the air. As he spoke, the earth beneath them shook again, more violently this time. Loose debris scattered around, and Caroline stumbled back into the woman, who gasped, clutching her arm. "What is happening?" she cried, her eyes darting around the clearing, searching for some semblance of safety. Before Caroline could respond, the ground erupted, a massive fissure splitting apart beneath their feet. The millionaire backed away, his expression shifting rapidly from anger to fear, his grip on the gun faltering. "No, it can't be happening again." The earth roared as shadows erupted from the crevice, dark, swirling tendrils reaching toward them like fingers of an ancient curse come to claim its due. Silence shattered into chaos as the tendrils coiled around the millionaire, dragging him backwards into the storm of darkness. "Run!" Caroline screamed, urgency igniting her steps. She grabbed the woman's arm, pulling her away as they sprinted towards the edge of the clearing. The landscape twisted beneath them, the trees shook, the air crackled, and the shadows seemed to loom larger with each passing second. "Where do we go?" the woman shouted, panic rising in her voice. "Anywhere. Just keep moving." Caroline shouted back, adrenaline coursing through her veins like fire, pushing her forward. The air felt charged, alive with something more than fear, a heaviness, a suffocating presence that suffused the twilight. But as they sprinted, a piercing shriek from the distance sent cold shivers cascading through them, freezing the marrow in their bones. They both stumbled, glancing back towards the turmoil, to where the millionaire had disappeared. Had they truly left him behind? Or had they merely disturbed something far worse? "Caroline," the woman gasped, her voice cracking. "What did we awaken?" The shadows writhed and twisted in the clearing, a haunting visual spectacle that drew them in and trapped them in a terrible limbo. With a powerful tremor that felt like a heartbeat, Caroline whipped around again, feeling the pulse of the earth under her feet. A figure loomed through the chaos, shapes shifting in the darkness. "Whatever this is, we have to face it," she murmured, dread creeping back into her bones. Before they could decipher the figure shrouded in shadows, it turned, an ominous silhouette illuminated for just a moment, sending a chill racing down Caroline's spine. The indistinct face twisted into a grin that was anything but welcoming. Are you afraid of the truth? It hissed, voice echoing like a forgotten ghost. The sudden panic exploded. Their only choice was to confront the darkness that had been awakened. The danger was no longer just about the millionaire, it was about something far beyond comprehension, truth buried between life and death, just waiting for them to unravel. As they stood there, torn between flight and fight, Caroline understood that whatever happened next, they were no longer just trying to escape. They were on the brink of something larger, something that threatened to consume everything around them. Was the truth they feared worth uncovering now? Would it bring salvation, or doom them both? And in that moment, the shadows whispered promises of power, of danger, and of a haunting past that refused to stay buried. The darkness was calling and it wanted them to answer. The ground shook violently beneath them, sending Caroline to her knees. The shadows curled tighter around the figure, obscuring its haunting grin, transforming it into a monstrosity that made her stomach twist. Face it, the voice echoed, filling the air with grotesque amusement. Your past is here, and it won't be ignored any longer. Stay away from us. Caroline shouted, her voice strained as she pulled the woman closer. Doubt gnawed at her. Was it even possible to escape this unspeakable horror now that it had clawed its way into their lives? The figure advanced, its form shifting, revealing glimpses of familiar faces trapped within the darkness. A father lost too soon, a childhood friend who had betrayed her trust. Memories she thought had died with the past were alive now, tormenting her from the corners of her mind. Why are you doing this? Caroline choked out, regret mixing with anger, her mind racing through a torrent of unanswered questions that sparked her conscience. What do you want from us? A chilling laugh bounced off the trees. It's not about what I want, dear Caroline. It's about what you owe. The shadows stirred, swirling like a tempest around her, drawing closer as if searching for something vital. No? No? Caroline trembled under the oppressive weight of truth crashing over her like a tidal wave. I didn't owe him anything. I was just a kid. We all have debts to pay, the figure hissed, eyes glowing eerily, the darkness seemingly hungry for her confession. Whether you choose to accept it or not, it's already begun. The woman beside Caroline gasped, confusion mingling with fear. What does it mean? She whispered, her grip tightening on Caroline's arm. Run. Caroline urged again, the primal instinct gripping her like a vice. She yanked the woman along, but the shadows hesitated, unfurling slightly, as if relenting for just a heartbeat. They stumbled forward, propelled by sheer desperation to escape the black tendrils reaching hungrily for their ankles. Every fiber of Caroline's being screamed at her to get away, to flee the darkness clawing open her past, but something tethered her intriguing and terrifying. A sudden thunderous crash came from behind as the shadows expanded, transforming the clearing into a churning nightmare. Branches creaked menacingly, igniting the spark of fear deep inside. What if it catches us? The woman cried, breath hitching as panic began to settle in. Caroline whipped around, her heart pounding in her chest. It can't, she said, though uncertainty laced her voice. We're stronger if we stick together. Just keep moving. But as they ran, that sinister laughter chased them through the woods, wrapping around their ears like a shroud. Each footfall felt like a countdown, a promise that something awaited them, a reckoning they could not outrun. A sudden bright glow erupted nearby, illuminating the chaos momentarily. An ancient tree stood stark against the dark, a sentinel, gnarled and ancient. Caroline's heart raced. Look! She pointed, urging the woman toward the flickering light. Is that? They stumbled toward it, hope flickering like the light's glow, pulling back the dark. But as they got closer, the figure emerged once more at the edge of the illumination, its silhouette stretching, taunting them. You cannot hide in the light, Caroline. The truth may shine, but it will burn you if you dare look away. Fear clawed at her throat. The path forward was fraught with pitfall and promise alike. What if facing this truth meant risking everything? With a shaky breath, Caroline summoned the courage to step toward the light, dragging the woman along. She could feel the shadows closing in, a cacophony of despair blending with her every thought. Could they outsmart the darkness, or had they simply walked into a trap of their own making? Caroline, the woman whispered, we're ready for this. Just as they reached the tree, a deafening roar enveloped them, drowning out their thoughts, shaking their very souls. "Then come on!" Caroline shouted fiercely. "We don't have a choice now." They turned to face whatever awaited them. The truth loomed ahead, shrouded in an unbreakable darkness that was only just beginning to reveal itself. But the question hung heavy in the air: was this the moment they would uncover the answers, or merely succumb to the secrets that had waited so long to break free? And then the ground trembled again, as if warning them to turn back, but they pressed on, ready to confront their fate. What awaited them behind the light? The air crackled around them as they stood, rooted beneath that ancient tree. The once flickering light flared brighter, morphing into an ethereal glow that danced eerily among the leaves. In that moment, Caroline felt the weight of her past pressing down with violent intensity. She was terrified of the truth, yet an even stronger instinct urged her forward. "Stay with me." Caroline summoned just enough courage, clutching the woman's arm with a fierce grip. Her heart raced against the looming terror. The shadows lurked around them, taunting her, their whispers slithering into her mind. Memories, fragmented and raw. She could feel the sharp edges of her regret digging deeper. The figure stood defiantly at the border of the light, still grinning, but now there was something different in its expression, a smirk mixed with anticipation. "Do you feel that?" it crooned, its voice a slithering hiss. "The panic? The longing for closure? You're just a kid still, with remnants of guilt shaped by decades of silence." The woman shivered next to Caroline. "What does it mean?" Caroline took a breath, face tightening in thought. "It means we're not just dealing with ghosts," she said, voice barely above a whisper. "This is a reckoning." The shadows pulsed, drawing nearer as if sensing her resolve. "What do you owe? What do you think is hiding in that heartbeat of yours?" The figure stepped forward, and the light around it flickered, stuttering at the encroaching darkness. "Enough. I'm tired of hiding." Caroline took a step closer to the light, her heart pounding as clarity struck. If facing the truth meant finding peace, then that's what she needed. There had to be a way through this chaos. "It's time to stop running," she declared, surprising even herself with the conviction pouring into her words. "Either you show me what I'm facing, or I will break through this myself." The figure's laughter echoed, venomous and mocking. "You think you're in control? You're already deeper in my grasp than you realize." Shadows writhed and twisted, creating an endless black vortex swirling around them. The ground trembled violently once more, the warning rumbling through her bones. "Now!" Caroline shouted, yanking the woman alongside her as they plunged into the light. The moment they crossed the threshold, reality warped. Colors bled together in a dazzling blaze. Warm yellows, fierce oranges, and deep ambers enveloped them. But the brilliance of the light was rapidly fading, snuffed by encroaching darkness creeping on all sides. Caroline's heart sank. Would it be enough to protect them? "What's happening?" the woman cried, panic rising in her voice as they stumbled onward, full of fear yet clinging desperately to one another. "Keep going. We have to reach the center." Caroline pushed on, desperate to hold on to that fleeting sense of hope. The shadows clawed at her, whispering secrets that clawed at her sanity, tugging her away from the path she chose. In the eye of the maelstrom, they came face to face with another version of the figure, a young girl, frightened, innocent, lost. The resemblance struck Caroline with a force that nearly knocked the breath from her lungs. "Is that me?" she gasped, horror flooding her system. The spectre grinned, sadness mingling with satisfaction. "You must confront what you were before you can be free. Only then can the past finally disappear." The taunting voice echoed in her mind as tendrils of darkness surged toward her, the weight of terrible choices choking her. Caroline felt the edges of her resolve wavering. "What do I have to do?" The children's innocence faded, the shadows wrapping tighter, threatening to erase everything good. And just when she felt lost amidst uncertainty, a whisper of bravery ignited within her. "What are you afraid of, Caroline?" the woman urged beside her, sparking a flicker of unity in their shared fear. "It's time to face it all." But before she could muster a response, the shadows lunged with lethal intent. The air crackled with energy, tension palpable as Caroline and the woman looked into the depths of their fears. Would courage be enough to break through, or would the darkness engulf them once and for all? With their backs pressed against that smothering pressure of the past, a scream erupted into the night. What revelation lay hidden in the shadows, waiting to shatter their very souls? The shadows surged, wrapping around Caroline and the woman like a tightening grip, suffocating their hope. But then came a spark, a sudden ferocity igniting in Caroline's chest, one that demanded she confront the fears lurking just out of reach. Enough! She shouted, her voice slicing through the fog of despair. You want to take me? She took a step forward, hands balling into fists, channeling every ounce of pain that had brewed within her. Memories swirled in her mind, choices that had haunted her, but now, they became fuel. She wouldn't be defined by them. Caroline! The woman called, gripping her arm. What are you doing? I'm fighting back, Caroline declared, a wave of determination washing over her. We owe it to ourselves. With a sudden burst of energy, she took the woman's hand and raced toward the dark figure that had once mocked them. The light pulsed, flickering dangerously, but it responded to their resolve. Shadows shrank back, revealing paths that had been hidden moments before. Keep going, she yelled, plunging forward. The figure morphed again, twisting and curling, losing its solid form with every step they took. You think you can escape? It hissed, anger lacing its voice. You think you're in control? We command our own fate, Caroline shouted back, pushing forward as the ground threatened to swallow them whole. Then, clarity struck like lightning. The darkness was a reminder of her past, of the pain and mistakes she had buried. She had been afraid for so long, chained by fear and doubt, but now, she would face it all. I'm not afraid anymore, she proclaimed, surging with newfound strength. And just like that, the shadows reacted, hissing in agitation. The air vibrated, solidifying the truth that lies within every heart, the power of acknowledgement. A sliver of light broke free, shining bright like a lighthouse guiding them home. Suddenly, cacophony of murmurs erupted from behind them, echoing with a familiar cadence. Faces flashed through the storm of darkness, snippets of memories and pain manifesting as whispers began to swirl around her. You left us, some voices cried. We needed you, shouted others, their loneliness echoing sharply against the suffocating gloom. Listen, Caroline shouted, a raw emotion rising in her throat. I can't go back and fix it, but I can move forward. The shadows hesitated, shifting, their grip loosening as if caught off guard by her fierce resolve. The cries of her past began to dim under the weight of her courage. Together, she yelled to the woman, take my hand. Clutching tightly, their combined strength burned brighter, drowning out the darkness that still clung to their heels. With one final push, they surged through the mass of shadows, taking flight until they burst free into a world where the air was alive with renewed hope. In a moment that felt eternal, they tumbled into a glowing realm, one filled with warmth and light. Caroline gasped, collapsing onto soft grass, lungs filling with the sweet scent of freedom. The shadows that had tormented them disintegrated like mist under a scorching sun, collapsing into nothingness behind them, and then it all shifted. The world around them morphed into clarity, reshaped by the truth they dared to unveil. Caroline looked at the woman beside her and saw determination reflected. We did it, she breathed, disbelief filling her. The woman nodded, relief washing over them both. Together, they had battled darkness and emerged victorious. I knew we could, the woman smiled, tears gleaming in her eyes. We faced it all. But a flicker of concern danced in Caroline's heart. The millionaire had chased them to the edge of darkness. What now? Could he still haunt them? Just then, from the periphery, figures began to emerge. Caroline squinted, recognizing familiar faces. Mark, still recovering from his injuries, shuffled toward her slowly but with purpose. Behind him stood the other guests, some with guilt, some with anger, but all unusually quiet, pondering the ordeal. The millionaire faced them all, silhouetted against the light. His eyes searched Caroline's, an unexpected vulnerability reflecting in his stony exterior. What happened is not your fault, Caroline, he said, the weight of their confrontation heavy in his tone. This was never about you. It's about the secrets we carry. But we can change. A shocking tension filled the air as the room collectively held its breath. We've buried ourselves in lies, but we have the chance to be better, he continued, seeming to lean on those final words for courage. Caroline let the dust settle, absorbing their possibilities. The shadows that once bound her were now merely memories, and beneath it all, she sensed a glint of hope rising from the ashes of truth. What do we need to do? Caroline finally asked, her voice steady. Start fresh, he replied, his voice stronger. Together. Uncover the truth. Help each other heal. A profound silence enveloped them, and in that moment of mutual understanding, every fear transformed to resolve. They would take this challenge on as one, no longer chained by their past. Caroline turned to face the sun, feeling a surge of warmth. This was a new beginning, a dawn waiting to break anew. Let us do this, she proclaimed, her heart brimming with determination, and then, they all moved forward together toward the truth, united against the remnants of the night that had almost consumed them. Right now, this is your moment. You need to subscribe immediately to our channel so you don't miss the next exclusive story that will carry you on more thrilling adventures. Smash that like button now to help feed the algorithm and show your support. Flood the comment section below with your reactions and theories about this wild conclusion. What would you do in their place? And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this powerful resolution. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.